Good evening. It's been a while. I think it's been over a week. The last video we did was when I was like close to being a corpse after a session exercise at home. That has been going well until last week when we started gardening. I thought I can't be doing gardening and exercises, so it's been a lazy formal exercise week, but it's been good. So I thought I should come back and just give you a heads up of what's been happening, my learnings, and I think it's something that we are mostly going through. First of all, my body was trying to adjust to this homeschooling thing. Uh, Homeschooling in my circles is something that's very common. Most mothers that I know from church are pro homeschooling, and I remember when I said I'm not going to be working anymore. Everyone assumed that I was going to be homeschooling. I was like, no, I'm not going to be homeschooling because I don't trust myself. First of all, I don't trust myself to wake up, to be ready at 8 o'clock and sit my children down and make sure that I've got a curriculum that I follow. I just didn't trust myself in terms of discipline and all of that, let alone them following my instruction. I just figured that maybe my school days will probably be 3 out of 5. So homeschooling was never an option for me. So it's interesting how then you are forced to face your fears. Like homeschooling. We started homeschooling now since the schools opened, like 2 weeks. We had the class packs that we were given before we closed schools. So every day had an activity of how school normally starts and we had to follow that. And we've been doing that religiously, and the first thing that was humbling was the fact that at first the children were like, no, you're not a teacher, you're a mother. So I had to teach them that I am a teacher. And I take this from a very interesting book that we have, which is called Child Guidance by Ellen G. White. It's a book that we've had here at home. I think we stole it from my mother-in-law's library. I kept reading and putting it down. And because of my feminist thing, sometimes I choose not to, like, whatever. But now I've gone back to reading this book, and it's interesting that it points out things that one was running away from. I'll read chapter 8, which is page 63. I'm not sure if you can download this book from I don't know where you can get it besides our bookshops, but if you need one, I can find out. So chapter 8 says preparation is needed. So the first portion, the first paragraph says the mother's preparation strategy neglected. It says the child's first teacher is the mother. During the period of greatest susceptibility and most rapid development, his education is to a great degree in her hands, which is me, mother. To her first is given opportunity to mold the character for good or for evil. She should understand the value of her opportunity, and above every other teacher should be qualified to use it to the best account. Yet there's other to whose training so little thought is given. The one whose influence in education is most potent and far-reaching is the one whose assistance is the one for whose assistance there is the least systematic effort. I'm sorry for that bad reading. I'm really sorry for that. But anyway, the most important thing here is that as a mother, you are the first teacher. I know sometimes I push and say, no, there's a father, blah, blah. It's good. It's a fact. It's still good. But I think for me, it was a learning for me to say, this book was written some 100 years ago, and I still believe that this is still a fact to date, that I am the primary caregiver. I'm responsible for teaching my children good or evil. I choose. And the word opportunity for me is every day we look out for opportunities, and opportunities are deemed to be good things, things that bring goodness, like whatever you're looking for. You're like, I can't wait for that opportunity. So you're given an opportunity to be the first person to influence your child. And I think for me, Corona or the lockdown or whatever has been happening, has made me realize this great opportunity of seeing my children learn from me, and also seeing my failures, and also seeing that actually the teachers are doing a great job. And I've been just sitting back and saying, hey, if you don't know this, why don't you know this? Why doesn't the teacher do this? And you know, when you go to those meetings, they talk about the triangle, that it's the teacher, the child, and the parent. that is so clear. And I think the most important part that we should take out of this whole schooling thing is that we take the higher position in the hierarchy. So that has been, I feel empowered. I feel that I now I know when my child doesn't know and when my child knows. And going forward, I think most of us will be alert and be aware and will know the questions to ask. And our children will trust us more, because sometimes our children trust the teachers more than they trust us. Because we seem to be like, teacher told you, what did teacher say? But now you are the teacher that we're referencing. So I've acknowledged my role and I've been empowered. I've faced my fears, and I think I've gained another level of respect for my children. And they ask me things that they would not ordinarily ask me, and they trust me with the answers. They trust me with assisting them with they might be young, but I think it's a learning for me. So I've been balancing being a teacher. I've been balancing being a wife. I've been balancing my hobbies, the gardening that's been happening with Norma, greatest supporter. I've been balancing some house cleaning, spring cleaning here and there, as we did the other time when we did decluttering, the gardening, which is close to my heart, and business, which is close to zero. And when I say business, it is now when you sit down and be like, okay, all of this must be balanced by business. So what's going to happen? Where are those funds going to come from? How are you going to pay salaries? Now it's month end, salaries must go out, irrespective of what's been happening. So there's a lot that's been happening in one's mind, and you're still expected to be sane, and you're still expected to come at 8 o'clock, sit down in the classroom and give your best, and lunch must be served, dinner must be served, the beds must be made. You must know who's who and make sure that everyone gets their right multivitamins, make sure that the family is well taken care of. And this also made me reflect on something that I've been fighting very hard. I think since late last year, I've been fighting being a Proverbs 31 woman, and I've been fighting it. I'm passionately, I've been like, no, stop calling me as a Proverbs 31. Stop calling me Imbo Ordo. I don't want to be called those things. And it was like, I hated it. But this time, it's made me go back and read and understand, Wuti, Gandhi, what is this Proverbs 31? And I've gone back and I've said, because this is what God says I am. It might seem like I am being abused. Why so much? Why should it be me? Why should it be me? I've gone back and I'm rereading it. I'm re-understanding it. It's not easy, but it's made me acknowledge the importance of understanding, what does God say I am? Who am I to God? How what's the expectation from God, not from the individuals that I live with. They've got their own expectations. They expect good food, they expect this, they expect that. But this time has made me look at the things that God says I am, and acknowledge the things that God says I am, and say, Lord, if this is what you want me to do, I don't have the power to do it. I'd like you to help me do it. So I'm relearning to understand this Proverbs 31 thing. I think it's a big hype. It's been a big hype. I've been fighting it, but I'm hoping that I can learn to acknowledge it, and through these things that are happening, finding yourself so involved in your home, day-to-day things, gardening, feeding, clothing, doing all of those things, it's actually a way of unpacking what it actually means. So that's what's been happening as well. The role of parenting, I'd also like, as we finish, someone might think that this is like a women discussion, like for women only, but no, the same book teaches that, chapter 4, which is, I wish I could find it. It says, train, not tell. Chapter 4, which is page 38. It says, to parents is committed the great work of educating and training their children for the future immortal lives. Many fathers and mothers seem to think that if they need, they feed and clothe their little ones and educate them according to the standards of the world, they have done their duty. And that's what we do. We make sure that we work, we bring money, we take our children to the best schools, we feed them with the best meals, and we think, oh, I'm done. But no. They are too much occupied with business or pleasure to make the education of their children the study of their lives. They do not seek to train them so that they will employ their talents for the honor of their Redeemer. Solomon did not say, tell a child the way he should go, and when he is old, he will not depart from it. But he said, train up a child in a way he should go, and when he is old, he will not depart from it. This challenged me when I read it, I think last week, to say, we're always telling our children, don't put that dish there, take the dish to the kitchen, take the cup to the kitchen, take your shoes there. But our children don't learn from what we tell them, they learn from what we do. If we say before class, make sure that your bed is done, you have bathed, you are fed, and you are sitting and you're ready. And when, as the mother was the father, you rock up at 8:05 and you're still in your pyjamas. They look at you like, okay, maybe it's fine to come to class with wearing pyjamas, or it's fine to go to class with your cereal. So for me, I'd like to emphasize, it's a challenge. I think it's something that we learn every day, and we need to remind ourselves as parents that every day they must see us do. They must be trained, because training means getting up and doing. And it doesn't mean that you just sit there and you point and point and point. They learn that. Actually, that's youth training them, that they must point. But if you've got someone helping you at home, you're like, oh, auntie will do it, sister will do it, mama must do it. They never think that they can do it by themselves. Never think that I can actually take up a rake and help mommy do the garden, or I can water the plants, or I can actually wash the dishes. So it's important, and it's also a good time for us to just look at how our children are behaving. And once we've seen the bad things that they are doing, it's a beautiful nudge for us to say, maybe let me look at myself, let me take a mirror and look at myself. What is it that I'm doing to influence their behavior? So that's what's been in my mind, and I thought I'd force today and say, no, my mind has got a lot happening. I just want to air out some of the things that are in my mind. So this is a video that has no topic. It's just a reflection of my learnings in the past 2-3 weeks, and also to acknowledge that there is absolutely nothing, and there's no day that one can say, oh, it's been such a good day, I did so well. But every day you go to bed and you're like, thank God this day is over. And it actually it went okay, it went well, because when you woke up, you gave it to God and said, God, I don't know how this class is going to go. I don't know if they will learn this counting, they will learn the shapes, they will learn the signs. I'm not sure, but I'll do what I can, but I need you to strengthen me. And I need the confidence to do it. And when you go to bed, you're like, thank you, Lord, because you came through for me. So it's for me to thank God, to say he came through for us in the past 2 weeks. It's been a learning curve every day. It's a different challenge. You have to be creative. You have to ask other mothers. You have to cry in the evening with other mothers on the phone and ask how they're doing it. And when you hear them cry back and you're like, oh, okay, at least I'm not on my own, we motivate each other. We go to bed and wake up in the morning and say we're going to do it again. And then in terms of business, it's horrible, because we run a guest house. It's been over a month now, over 6 weeks, I think, no guests, nothing, meaning there's zero, zilch income. So you go to bed with those anxieties, but you go back and you reflect and you say, what does God say about anxieties? And it says, be anxious about nothing. And you say, okay, what does that mean? It means I must go and leave it at your altar and just go to bed and trust that you will deal with it. So those are the things that you exercise, and to exercise, going to his scripture and saying, God, what do you say about this situation? What is happening? What do you expect me to do? What should happen? Who's going to feed us? And then you get to realize that God is the one who sustains us, is the one who feeds us, is the one who provides everything that we have. And we still continue to trust him, that irrespective of the situation, irrespective of what you're going through, your situation might be different from mine. You might be like on a breeze, or you might be thinking, oh, we're together, my sister, I hear you. But the one thing that I want to say to you is that it's not easy, but the one person who makes it easy is God. And just to go to him vulnerable and say, dude, but okusalayo, I'm going, like fake it till you make it is now what is happening. To say, I'll fake it until I make it. but I'm not gonna fake it alone. I'm gonna fake it with you. I'd like you to walk by me, and I'd like you to keep advising me and keep pulling me back where I keep falling, because I am very weak, and the only person who will give me strength is you. So I missed doing a video. I know it's a long video, but it's just an overflow of what's been happening, and I think I missed talking on the video. Thanks, Noms, for allowing me to drag you into this again, as always. It's been great. I hope to see you soon. Good night.